All right, last page, page 4, number 14. Use the following table to determine the linear equation. So again, we're looking for an equation, not for slope. So our equation means we need m and we need b. Okay, so m means our slope. So we're going to go find our slope. So we can either use the formula using two ordered pairs, or we can find the change in y. So how do you go from 18 to 23? Well, you would add for 5. So that's our numerator. So again, I'm going to write that down so I don't forget which one goes on the numerator. And then our change from x's from 3 to 4, that's adding 1. So both of them are adding. So that's a slope of 5. And then our y-intercept. Now, you can do a couple things. You can maybe look at the pattern, 6, 5, 4, 3. Well, the next one would be 2, 1, and then 0, whatever number that is. That would be our y-intercept. So we can use our slope to follow it back, going back 5, 5, and another 5. That's option 1. Option 2, we can solve for b using the formula y equals mx plus b. So we're going to do that one. So we're going to plug in an x and a y and an m. So y, we're going to pick an ordered pair. I'm going to pick the first one just because I chose to. So y is 18, m we found, which was 5, multiplied by x, which is 3. And we're going to find b, which is the unknown value. So step 1, 5 times 3, which is 15, and bring the rest of this down. Now we're isolating b, so we're doing the inverse to move it to the other side by combining our like terms. That's our 0 pair. We're left with b, and 18 minus 15 is 3. So now we have our m and our b. So our equation is y equals 5x plus 3. And one other option you could have done is run a regression. Remember the formula, y1 tilde mx1 plus b. Remember, the y1 is because in Desmos it calls it y1. And x1 is called that because in Desmos they call it x1. The only thing that's different is you change this tilde from an equal sign to a tilde. So you can put the table in and then run the regression, and it will give you m and b, so you don't have to do any of this work. All right, number 15. Write an equation. So remember, equation means I need m and I need b of a line that passes through the ordered pairs of x, y, x, y. Well, I happen to notice if I put this as a table, even if I wanted to put this in run a regression into Desmos, I want you to pay attention to something. What do you notice? Do you notice anything about that table? Maybe you notice this. Oh, remember what happens if x is -2 twice, next x is always going to be -2. So our equation is actually x equals -2. So x equals -2. Again, if I plotted -2, 4, -2, 9, see that's a vertical line, right? Vertical, those are undefined slopes. Undefined slopes are always an x value. All right, and let's do the next one. Write an equation. So again, you need m and you need b. Okay, but I might notice something about these special tables in case I was going to use Desmos to run a regression. I'm going to write these ordered pairs out just so you can see. Sometimes it's helpful to write our table. What do we notice? What do we notice? We notice this. What happened to y? It repeats. That means my y values are always 9. So y equals 9 is actually my equation. Again, if I kind of jotted this down on a graph, -2, 9, 3, 9, this would be a 0 slope, and 0 slopes only go through the y-axis, and it's going through the y at 9. So take a shortcut where you can. All right, number 17. Determine if the tables represent a proportional or non-proportional and explain your reasoning. So remember, proportions mean that y over x equals y over x. So there's two ways to do it. You can simplify them to see if they're the same, or we can do cross products. Y times x is the same as y times x. So we can pick two ordered pairs. So I'm going to cross multiply. 4 times 2, cross multiply, 12 times 1. Well, are those equal? No. So it is non-proportional because the cross products are not equal. Okay. Next question, or next table, same question, if it's proportional or non-proportional. So again, cross products, x times y is the same as x times y, or y times x is the same as y times x. So cross product. So I'm just going to pick 2 order pair. So let's multiply 2 times 3. Well, that's 6. Let's multiply 6 times 1. Ah, that's 6. Well, look it, they're the same, which means they are proportional because the cross products are equal. And the last question. It says, write the equation for the graph line. So not just slope, equation. We need m and we need b. Okay, so to find m, we need 2 points. So I'm going to use the y-intercept, and let's find the next one. Nope. Ah, here we go. Make sure it's going through intersecting points. So my rise from -1, I went up 1, 2, 3. I went up, so it's +3. Then I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right, which means it's positive. So rise is 3, run is 5, +3/5. B means your y-intercept. Well, that means where does it touch this y-axis, because it's intercepting the y. So where does it intercept? Well, it catches it here. What number was that? That was at -1. So our y-intercept's -1. So now we're ready to write equation. Y equals 3/5 x minus 1. And that's the end of our test review.